Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. This is Reema. Today we have a session, Applications of Chatbots in Healthcare Sector, and our speaker is Dr. Karuna Bagar. Before we start the session, I would like to play one video of CI Biology. Please have a look.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible, Reema?
Yes, you are audible.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I would like to welcome all the participants of short-term attachment program. So before I move forward, I would like to introduce CIBIOD. What is it? It is a healthcare innovation hub and startup incubator established by ICMR at a premium medical research institute, that is PGI, Chandigarh. It aims to promote innovation in medical devices, instruments, life sciences, healthcare technology, education, clinical research, and healthcare delivery by creating a conducive ecosystem with the involvement of stakeholders from research institutions, government, and private healthcare sector globally. So, about the objectives of CIBIOD, it is to promote innovation in biodesign of medical devices, instruments, and technologies, including life sciences and other branches of healthcare, for making healthcare affordable. It is to solutions. It is to promote automated solutions and approaches for various common medical problems. It is to provide manpower training for researchers, clinicians, and faculty working in the area of medical sciences. And it's a consultancy center providing a solution to hospitals and business in the area of medical science. So for today, we have Dr. Lalit K. Awasthi with us as our special guest. I would like to introduce Dr. Lalit K. Awasthi. Welcome, sir. Professor Lalit Kumar Awasthi is presently a professor and a director at the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar, since October 2016, and is on deputation from NIT Hamirpur, where he is serving as professor in computer science and engineering. He has also served as Dean of Academics at HP Technical University, Hamirpur, where he was instrumental in finalization of curriculum for the various BTech and MTech courses. Dr. Lalit has academic career spans for more than 3 decades in which he is involved in teaching, learning, laboratory development, infrastructure development, research, and administration. He has an excellent international exposure as he has visited University of California, Stanford University, University of Technology, Sydney, University of Melbourne, and many more. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Lalit as our participants are looking forward to hear from you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Good morning and greetings from NIT Jalandhar. For today's evening, we have a speaker with us, Dr. Karuna Babbar, and I would like to appreciate the efforts of Center for Innovation and Biodesign, and especially the efforts put in by Dr. Virendra Garg and the team for bringing in so many institutions together. As has been said, if India has to be Atmanirbhar, if we has to go ahead, especially in medical sciences, you can see in case of this second wave of COVID or even the first wave of COVID, you can see how much we are lacking in the healthcare infrastructure. There are so many pressures. Even for oxygen, we are looking for solutions. So there are so many aspects where wonders can be done if so many students, so many institutions come together. NIT Jalandhar have been one of the premier institutions. We do have a technology incubation center, and we also promote innovation. But the Center for Innovation and Biodesign at PGI MER Chandigarh is a unique effort because you have the medical team there, the local team, the best medical team I can say from northern aspect, and then you have all the good institutions tied up, IIT Ropar, NIT Jalandhar, then LP University, both in government and private sector. There are so many institutions which have tied up. Now you see, on one side, let us take example of NIT Jalandhar. We have roughly around 200 faculty members which have who have done their PhD from best institutions in the country, IITs, NITs, and they are available as pool of resources. And then we have the best students in the country, around 4,500 students at NIT Jalandhar, similarly at other institutions. And if we can identify the open problem, you might have seen so many innovations already done by this ICMR Center for Innovation and Biodesign, which have been listed in the presentation. I congratulate the team for such a good achievement, and I definitely find that if we can forge ties between the institutions, both on technical one side and the medical on the other side, we can definitely do wonders in innovation and particularly biodesign. And the instrumentation design and then putting it in use will definitely be able to boost the needs, local needs of medical instruments. Also, it will help in becoming the country self-reliant, and will be able to partner with the objectives and the uh, further which has been put by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Atmanirbhar Bharat. So, with this word, I congratulate the Center for Innovation and Biodesign for taking this initiative, and I congratulate them for inviting Dr. Karuna Babbar for giving innovation into how the IT or related things can be used in the research in development of biodesign for instruments. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Ms. Aishwarya.
Hello, everyone. I would like to introduce our speaker who is going to take a session on chatbots and its application in healthcare. So introducing Dr. Karuna Babbar. She has received her bachelor's degree in science, as well as she has completed her master's in computer application from Punjab University, wherein she got involved into research, completing her PhD in wireless sensor networks. After that, she has started being an assistant professor since last 14 years, wherein her core research lies in data analysis, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Up until now, she has published 11 research papers in reputed journals of computer science and is actively involved as a core member in execution of various workshops. We welcome you, ma'am. We are looking forward for your session.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you, Dr. Lalita Awasthi ji. Now, may I share my screen now?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, my today's session is on chatbots in healthcare. Chatbots in healthcare refer to the conversational agents that use text, voice, or instant messaging for natural interaction with our patients and all its users. Chatbots are preloaded or pre-trained with a set of rules or past data in order to mimic human intelligence to have a meaningful conversation with the user in real time. Now you can easily foresee chatbots like somewhat work like chat icon you might come across at the right bottom of any website when looking for any help or technical support. By integrating hospitals' IT systems, we can develop chatbots with artificial intelligence built-in features. The chatbots reset. Now, reset is reveal, escalate, substitute, explain, and track project, which is launched in January 2020. Now, what are the advantages? There are many advantages, but I have mentioned only few over here. Now, the 24/7 access, user will get access to health information from anywhere and at any time. Then is our low cost. One chatbot will serve thousands of customers and patients simultaneously. Better and efficient access. These are faster and more intuitive than any other digital modes and options. Then is our faster deployment. Chatbots can be deployed within days and weeks. Enhanced customer satisfaction, we can easily foresee that the satisfaction can be improved massively. Like chatbots can enhance customer care and provide better health services and interaction between health staff and its patients. Provision of consistent health data. Consistent replies based on current and curate information can be provided. Then repurposing, we can repurpose our chatbots and can be put to use for other medical emergencies also. Data for future use from chatbots, one-stop large amount of health data generates, which can further be used for training and research-oriented applications. Then is our applications of chatbots in healthcare. See, in a collective manner, we can say that our applications can be further segregated into two major areas. That is the patient-facing chatbots. In patient-facing chatbots, we have health provider services like patient can look up for health provider, office hours, appointment scheduling, costs involved. Then is the check-in, diagnosis and pre-screening, disease pre-screening, gathering medical history, self-evaluation of disease symptoms through short question answers, disposition and possible causes, health information hotline, medical terminology, all can be acquired by the patient only through these chatbots. Then is our enrollment. Health insurance enrollment, support subsidies, medical cost advice, knowledge transfer, and government benefits all can be put into place in chatbots through conversational agents. Now is our chatbots for provider facing. Now assessment and treatment support, assess medical records, tracking patient condition, mental health and behavioral therapy, discussion of test results can be done at the part of paramedical staff or the doctors themselves. Then is our discharge. Prescriptions, lab image results, follow-ups, all can be done through these particular chatbots. Post-discharge facilities can also be provided through chatbots, like for home-based follow-ups can be done, multi-party communication, medication reminders and adherence, patient compliance management can be done easily. Then is our wellness, generic information on diseases and symptoms, health promotion surveillance, reminders for preventive screening. These days we all are going through pandemic situation, and through chatbots we can easily put reminders on our chatbots for preventive screening, health assessment and risk scoring can be easily done through provider facing chatbots. Then is our stages for the framework of chatbots in healthcare. How can we build chatbots in healthcare? I have divided building of chatbots in 3 phases. That is the development phase, wherein chatbots are designed and developed by technology developers using artificial intelligence and machine learning features to meet potential needs in healthcare, in consultation, no doubt, in consultation with the providers and in compliance with the laws laid down by our regulatory bodies. Then is our deployment. Chatbots are piloted and employed in small scale by providers with assistance from technology developers and guidance from regulators. Then is our scalability. As chatbots are broadly adopted by society, these begin to impact the large and diverse populace overseen by regulators with support in compliance from technology developers as well as the providers, which can be our doctors and the other paramedical staff. Then is the levels of automation in the use of AI chatbots for healthcare. See, levels we have divided level 0 to level 4, that is in 4 stages. the automation can be done. At level 0, we have no automation because it is providing end-to-end services, and the data is also an open source here. Here, decision making can be done through humans only. Risk level labeling is nothing here. Example, we can take a simple example of telemedicine here. We all are implementing telemedicine, but it doesn't require much of the automation as such. So it is in the level 0. But when we come to the level 1, wherein we can provide personalized assistance, here pre-diagnostic collection and evaluation, patient-specific information is required. So we need electronic health records. Here, decision making thereafter, after making our electronic health records, then decision making can be hybrid, that is between human and chatbots. It's a combination of both. Risk level involved here is very low, and the example I can give here is of symptom checkers. Even patients can simply communicating with the chatbots, they can assess this symptoms they are having, and they can assess the medical terminology also, which disease they might have. So at level 2, the partial automation can be easily done, like in suggestions of diagnosis and treatments, verification and decision approval is there. We directly need a data source, that is the electronic health records again, and the decision making again is hybrid one, that is human and chatbots can interact, and we can have the decision making with the combination of both of them. And then the risk involved is moderate or high also, and patient guidance is the one area where we can easily automate our chatbots, automate our today's healthcare, and we can easily provide much improved and efficient patient guidance to our patients, to the end user. Then is our level 3. This is conditional automation. How come we can say that it is a conditional automation? Because diagnosis and treatment, like intervention in special or chronic cases, we can check on we can embed the test results, imaging like CT scans, this CT scan, this heartbeat scans. Then all these can be analyzed automatically through automation, and with the help, no doubt, with the help of electronic health records. And here decision making is also hybrid, that is human and the chatbots, they can easily collaborate together and to make more effective decisions. The risk level is moderate and high. Again, the patient guidance will be the best beneficiary here. Then is our level 4. This can be fully automated. Level 4 can be our fully automation. The entire process of diagnosis and treatment plan. Data sources are electronic health records only, and the decision making, of course, is a hybrid again, that is doctors, and through all the medical history involved, through all the medical history of the patient, they can give cognitive therapy to the patient. They can guide the patient very well, very effectively, and of course without losing much time. So the risk level is also moderate, high, and critical also here. Next comes our type of stakeholders here. See, to build the chatbots in healthcare especially, we have different stakeholders, like the developers, the chatbot developers, those who can design and develop the chatbots. Then is our conversational AI platforms, support of different AI features, different artificial intelligence and machine learning features, so as to embed them, so as to make them more and more conversational and more interactive with the patients. Chatbot hosting platforms, support and services of only health data based web servers, that is cloud based hosting we need here. At the provider, next our stakeholders are the providers. In this we can say hospitals, the clinics, the diagnostic centers, mini hospitals, lab and testing centers, medical colleges. Then our insurance companies are also our stakeholders. Life and medical health insurance companies, they can be our stakeholders. Yes, they are our stakeholders, better I should say. Then is our technology providers, any kind of health related service providers like the testing clinics, those who are into testing, or those who are into developing small medical toolkits. They are our stakeholders again. Then is our government, which is a provider. Then comes our third stakeholder, that is the regulators, government as a regulating agency, consumer bodies as the regulating agencies, and then our medical bodies, which we already have in place. Right. Then comes the AI ethics, which to build the chatbots, we need to cover healthcare ethics as well as our artificial intelligence ethics. So far AI ethics are concerned, the basic principle is accountability. Proper mechanism can be put in place to ensure responsibility and accountability for building AI embedded systems and their outcomes, both before and after their development, deployment, and use. Our criteria should be a proper auditability should be there, a proper liability must be on the system. That is the ability to redress the issues if they occur, documenting trade-offs, minimizing negative effects if they occur in time. Then is our transparency. Our system must be a transparent one. That is, whatever data we are using, whatever business models and systems we are using, we should display them. We should be very transparent in our approach. We should I can say we should also take it into account the privacy of the patient into account. Then the criteria must be the traceability, the communication, the entire database must be very communicative, and so that we can fetch a curative information out of it. Then comes our safety. It must be ensured that the system will perform what it is supposed to do. This includes minimization of unintended consequences and errors. No doubt errors will occur. Whenever we deploy a new system, definitely things will not be that accurate. Errors may occur there, but we must work out so that our error rate should be minimized as much as possible. And our criteria must be like, even if our system fails, we must have fallback plan at the back end so that we can bank on. Even if our system fails for a certain period of time, we must have a back end plan, fallback plan. Right. Then comes our privacy and data governance. Educate data governance that covers the quality and integrity of the data used. Data must be processed in a way that protects its privacy. Privacy is the much required asset of any medical data. Now, the respect for privacy and data protection is our criteria here. Access to data. There must not have any denial of service kind of attacks there. Then we have quality and integrity of data. Our data should be integral one. Our data's quality must be an effective and easy to understandable, right? Then comes our human autonomy, support to human autonomy and decision making. That is what our sole purpose is, to make our chatbots in the healthcare. Human autonomy and decision making. This criteria must altogether focus on our fundamental rights also and human oversight, so that these particular rights cannot be oversighted by the use of chatbots in healthcare especially. Then comes our reliability, robustness, and security. AI systems be developed in such a way so as to minimize unintentional and unexpected harm and preventing unacceptable harm. See, in medical terms, we need to be little extra cautious whenever we are developing something, because here the human health is involved. Here the you can say a very nerving thing which is a human body is concerned, so we need to be little extra cautious. Resilience to attack and security should be avoided. Accuracy is should be of our accuracy should be our paramount importance. Reliability and productivity must be there so as to deliver chatbots in healthcare. Then comes our fairness. Bias in data is not at all tolerated here. Algorithms and in people also, it must be bias in any case, like in data, in algorithms and in people, must be avoided in the performance of AI solutions. So unfair bias avoidance must be there. These are the AI ethics. All the developers, especially the stakeholders or developers, must consider the AI ethics before making their chatbots in healthcare a possibility for us. Then comes the healthcare ethics. Now see here, we all know the healthcare ethics, but when we are integrating chatbot, the technology with the healthcare, that is chatbots with the healthcare, we need to be little extra cautious, and we also need to recheck our healthcare ethics. The first one is our beneficence. Here, moral obligation, mercy and kindness with a strong connotation of doing good to others. This must be our first and prime ethic. That is, we do not harm from our chatbots, from our technology integration. We do not harm intentionally or unintentionally. We do not harm the patient. We do not harm any human body. We make safe chatbots. We need empathy towards our patient. Then comes the health maximization, obligation to maximize health in populations. This is our sole purpose of making a chatbots in healthcare. So obligation to maximize health in populations. Then comes the cost-effective treatments. The outcome which we desire is the cost-effective treatment for each and everyone. The cost utility analysis must be done, right? Respect for autonomy, allowing patients to make their own decisions about which healthcare interventions they will or will not receive. That is, their confidentiality, privacy, informed consent must be taken over here. Then comes the justice. There should be an element of fairness in all the medical decisions, as well as equal distribution of scarce resources and new treatments. Medical practitioners uphold applicable laws and legislations when making choices. The criteria for justice must be equity, security, and access to data. And I really hope our upcoming chatbots in healthcare will definitely going to imbibe all these healthcare ethics in them. Efficiency and proportionality is another ethic which we must consider. That is the use of evidence-based and the performance of cost-benefit analysis to decide what should be done and how to do it. Balancing individual freedom against wider social goods is another thing which should be kept in mind before making our chatbots a possibility. And we do need fundamental rights. We do keep our fundamental rights in mind, human oversight in mind. See, this is the picture of the overall reset principles and framework. Chatbot reset principles is, as I told you, chatbot reset project was launched in January 2020. It has these principles, that is the safety and non-malevolence, efficacy, data protection, human agency, accountability, transparency, fairness, explainability, integrity as its prime principles. And then comes our principles, these particular principles are further segregated into two ethics, that is the artificial intelligence ethics and the healthcare ethics, which I already covered in my previous slides. Now, active community members of chatbots, these big giants are community members for the chatbots: Microsoft, Tech Mahindra, Apollo Hospitals, Reliance, and other few private partners, like private partners are also involved for the development of our chatbots. National Health Authority is also involved. Then few of the international partners are also involved are also our community members for the chatbots. And if you really want to work for the chatbots in healthcare, we have help, and that help can be in the form of project lead. We do have project lead and the project fellow, that is Arunimika Sarkar. She is our project lead, and Sundar Vesan is our project fellow. And both emails I have already provided in this slide. If you need any kind of help, and if you want to further go for helping or to be a part of our chatbot development team, please do let us know. I'm providing my email ID also. Let me write my email ID also here. Please do let me know whatever issues you have in your mind. If you want any clarity on this particular topic, I would love to help you in this aspect. Thank you so much. And that's all from my side. If you have any queries, do let me know.
Hello, Karuna. Thank you, Karuna ma'am, for such a wonderful lecture, for such a wonderful session. And I hope everyone, all the participants in the group and everyone have got good information and good enlightenment from what you have shared with us today. And we are very thankful to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for participating in this session. And I hope that we will be doing everything. They can keep their questions in the chat box, in the chat section, if possible. And we will be able to answer the questions. I think so. Now I hope that nobody is asking that much questions. I think so everyone has got their answers through this session itself. Thank you so much everyone for joining the session, and a very short reminder, in the next session will be held on the same day in the next week with the same timings, and the details of the same will be forwarded to you via mail as well as via the broadcast groups. So please stay tuned with us and stay connected. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.